can get you accelerated in the early game and then good burst damage later on in the game as well. We'll see if JDG and Gen.G do go down those routes. Orianna getting banned out by JDG as the first ban in this Champion Select powered by Omen and HyperX, with Jarvan and Karma being removed by Gen.G.
Yunara is, of course, another AD carry that we're keeping our eyes on, but something we heard the desk talking about is JunJia. Often they like to facilitate him with junglers that can do stuff. Vi, Xin Zhao, Jarvan, wanting to remove that Jarvan from the pool already. I wouldn't say it makes Rumble weaker, but it does, that combo is already taken off the table, and it does suggest that Gen.G perhaps have other priorities. Of course, Kiin, I mean, what is he not known for at this point?
He's so good.
Because Kiin Sante is probably what most have known him for internationally, but the man could play pretty much any champion. He continues to be, I mean, comfortably the best top laner in the world. We'll see what that priority is coming into game one with the Vi. Again, a lot of focus going towards JunJia, kind of as we expected.
A lot of focus going towards the jungle as well. I think for JDG, getting JunJia into a position where he can have a really solid early game is one of their key win conditions here. Last year, I would say, yeah, that perhaps is a weakness for Gen.G. Canyon has struggled to have as much impact through the game as the rest of Gen.G. However, this year, Canyon once again has leveled up and continues to be an incredible performer for the team. So with Orianna and Ryze banned away, will JDG continue to pick away at Chovy's pool? No, instead it will be Varus taken away from Ruler.
So the Rumble is available. Yunara is up as well. They could also look at prioritizing Ahri or Taliyah for Chovy if they want to. I mean, I think Ahri blind is a little bit risky, especially this early on in the Fearless draft. What will they be contemplating? Seems like the Rumble is going to be the easy choice. So we did talk about it with the Jarvan gone. That hot pot combo is not going to be available, but not too much concern with regards to that, just because Rumble is such a dominant top lane force and how much value he brings in the team fight.
It's still just a money printer as well. You go first strike on this Rumble into something like a tank coming out from Xiaoxu, and you're in such a strong position. I think it's Kiin's one of his most played as well. Rumble and Gwen, I remember being at the top of his charts for this first split. JDG immediately going to go down that Seraphine route. Often see this teamed up with the Ashe in the bot lane for a very oppressive 2v2.
Yeah, it's not too uncommon for JDG to have this type of pairing, provide a little bit more stability and strong bot side. Interesting that they've chosen to lock in the Seraphine alongside the Xin Zhao, but not get the Ashe. They want to take that Xin Zhao away. We talked about it. JunJia's 3 most played, Vi, Xin, and Jarvan. With both the Vi and the Jarvan taken away, just grab yourself the Xin Zhao. Make sure that you have that comfort coming into game one. Have that easy initiate tool with some reliable follow-up coming through from the Seraphine.
And that's the thing. You can encore on top of a Crescent guarding Xin Zhao to try and get it further into the enemy backline, right? And it allows JunJia just a little bit more safety as he does dive in. Pantheon going to be the lock here for Canyon. Very strong, aggressive early game jungler that can also have a lot of impact in the side lanes. If things devolve into a 1-3-1 or develop into a 1-3-1, the Grand Starfield gives you so much pressure in those side lanes.
Absolutely. Canyon, we'll see how much of an impact he can have in the early game. Right now, you'd expect something like an Ahri to come through. Some combination. I mean, Taliyah Pantheon is a tried and true combo, but given that they've seen the Seraphine, they've made a bit of a pivot. Instead, they're going to prioritize the Bard. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense in the context of, I mean, you'll get bullied out in the early laning phase, assuming that the Ashe does come through alongside this Seraphine. But later on into the game, the roam impact that it has, especially paired alongside the Jarvan, the cross-map plays that you can potentially make, the long-range engages you're going to have access to, a very versatile support. JDG hovering over the Jinx right now.
Looks like they might be going towards an Ezreal instead. A little bit more poke coming out from GALA here. Is very comfortable on the Ezreal, of course.
I am wondering if the Seraphine could be mid lane medic. Yeah, I mean, we rarely talk about it just because we so often see it in the support position, but JDG are leaving it open for a flex pick. And we'll see what direction they end up going, because right now, I mean, the Karma's already banned away, which is something you'd often pair alongside the Ezreal. So perhaps GALA and Vampire are looking to play the Ezreal Seraphine bot lane combo, which is a little bit surprising.
What it does do is give you a little bit more range than the Ashe Seraphine into something like a Bard that can walk up and try and harass you down.
Sure.
But I agree with you, it's not commonplace.
Yeah, mainly because the core combo is that Seraphine's E, her root.
Yeah.
if the target is slowed, then it roots, and if the target is root, then they stun, right? And so Ashe provides the slow, so you almost always get a root. And if you have the passive stack so that she gets the double, you can then set up a stun, for example. So that's why Ashe Seraphine specifically is such an effective combo, which Ezreal doesn't really provide that same synergy. He does provide decent poke and range, which perhaps he's concerned about with the amount of engage that Gen.G have drafted for themselves so far. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, still 2 picks remaining. The Civ are going to be banned away from Ruler, so that late game insurance going to be denied. Galio on the side of Gen.G going to be taken away means that... I mean, my instincts immediately go towards something like an Akali. Looking at this composition could be very
Your instincts always go to
Akali.
But
I mean, Galio naturally a good counter into the Akali. Also things like Orianna, he's quite good into. If you're banning away the Galio, or perhaps they're just worried about Xin plus Galio as a combo as well. But I'm also trying to think, like, what could Chovy be thinking about that he's worried that doesn't want to go into the Galio as well?
It's something that Galio does do is react well to side lane pressure. So if you are using
Also
this Pantheon in sort of a split position, then Galio's ability to hero's entrance onto a side lane could be something that Gen.G want to avoid. Things like the Talia still available as well for Gen.G if they do want to look for some of that map movement with Cassante and Galio banned away, and Jhin and Sivir. We'll see where JDG want to go for their next pick.
I mean, is it just a Sion in top lane? No, it's looking like an Aurora top lane. Okay, JDG want to fight fire with fire. We've seen Aurora as an answer into the Rumble a number of times. It is something that basically can just bully the Rumble out. Aurora loves short-range matchups. She's relatively short-range herself, but in the laning phase, the fact that her auto-attacks help stack her passive, combined with the fact that you can just bully out your opponents relying on both the Q, the E, and the autos, and then if Rumble tries to approach you, use the E to create that space, apply the slow. It can be a very tough matchup for the Rumble to play during the early laning phase.
Also still gives you a little bit of flexibility if you want to move that to the mid lane. If you see a good matchup in mid, you can bring that Aurora in there and then pick something into the Rumble as your final pick here on the blue side. Caitlyn locked in for Gen.G. They are looking for push in that bot lane, trying to match the Ezreal Karma with a lot of range and a lot of damage. And perhaps with the threat of Pantheon being down there early doors, just to try and get Ruler really accelerated on this pick.
Yeah, from what I can tell, this looks to be Ruler's first Caitlyn of the year. So looking forward to seeing him bring that one out. Twisted Fate being hovered for Chovy. I mean, we talked a lot about Talia's potential side lanes. Of course, Ryze is banned, but a champion that can also rotate effectively. TF just fits the marker in the same way. Pantheon, TF, the single target CC that's coming through from Gen.G. The point and click is ruthless. Cleanse has a lot of value for GALA in this game, that's for sure. Don't be surprised to see the Mikhails come through. Right now we are hovering the Ornn. So we discussed at length the potential flexibility. Will we get to see the Seraphine in the mid lane? Will we get to see Aurora top lane? Looks like none of that's going to come through, as the Ornn will be the final lock-in. That big tanky option in the top side to respond into the Rumble. I mean, it's going to be safe. The first strike Rumble that we often see is an answer into it to just keep farming up those stacks. But JDG, they've got a lot of team fighting options available to them. A lot of wombo combo, a decent amount of range, some solid poke. Whereas Gen.G, a lot more pick potential, a lot more side lane threat, looking to try and catch you off guard with decent range and poke of their own. Especially if TF is going to go for the RFC. Think about Caitlyn with a potential headshot combined with the TF. The opportunity to just chunk someone out before the fight even starts is very, very scary to have to deal with.
Yeah, I think that's one of the risks really here for JDG. Gen.G are so good at playing the map, at finding advantages in the early game, and then pulling you around the map, taking things on the other side while you're trying to take a 3v4 trade somewhere. I think it's going to be really difficult for JDG to get to that team fight position. But if they do, their composition works really well. They have a good front line, they have some strong damage, and then a lot of CC with the Encore coming on top of it. For Gen.G, not that many tanks. If they do start to fall behind, they are a relatively squishy team here. Pantheon obviously does have the Aegis Assault, but otherwise, you don't really have anyone that can tank up damage coming out from JDG.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if JDG just get that established front to back, they're happy.
Yeah.
They don't want flanks. They don't want Pantheon doing Pantheon things. They want to control the early game side lanes. And if they can do that and get to these team fights, then I have confidence that they can find good fights. But then, of course, the next challenge comes from, hey, when you're playing against 5 of the best players in the world,
on champions that like to fight.
It's going to be a tricky challenge. Like, make no mistake, JDG are not the favorites coming into this matchup. Gen.G, let's see what they've got here for their first matchup on at first stand.
Let's jump onto the Rift. The LPL number 2 seed, JDG, taking on the LCK's champions elect here, Gen.G. As you said, I think it's really about whether JDG can stop some of the pressure coming out from these flanks, from these picks, out of Chovy with the Destiny, out of the Grand Starfall with Canyon. I want to keep my eyes on the junglers early on because it does look like both junglers going to start on the top side of the map. And we'll see some plays down towards that bottom lane.
Okay, so I'm keeping my eyes on the junglers especially, as you were just talking about. Seems like bot lane is going to be the direction. And when I'm thinking about Caitlyn, like the main reason you pick Caitlyn is so that you can feel comfortable in this bot lane 2 versus 2, right? So you have that extra bit of range against the sheer amount of poke. Bard, as you know very well, doesn't really have much of a laning phase. Like, he basically only has 2 skills. So we'll see how things pan out as they get into the 2v2.
Live on patch 26.06, you can check out Warhound Senna. A portion of all these skins proceeds will be shared across the LoL eSports teams, so make sure you grab it while you can. As you say, like, Bard can have a bit of a laning phase if he is able to, like, play into a melee support or something. You get the electrocute procs off really easily. Here, kind of been trying to neutralize Vampire and GALA, who can step up in the lane. Vampire having a great time on Enchanters so far, and JDG having a great time back at first stand. It's been 2 years since we've seen this team internationally, Vedi.
Last 3 now, we're at 2026, mate.
Oh, dear, yes. It was Worlds 23, though, so 2 years, 6 months we'll go with. There's a tragic ending for the Golden Road as Duro almost meets a tragic end in the bot lane as Vampire and GALA do catch him out. Good tilt over Peacemaker back from Ruler, puts the damage down onto Vampire.
But yeah, I mean, shout out to Nymera, who's given me a lot of information as well heading into this tournament surrounding JDG. And like, this roster's gone through so many iterations. They've tried a plethora of different coaches. They've tried a plethora of different players. They've tried so many different things to return back to success. And this roster is the one that's been able to do it. And JunJia is the one looking to make things happen in the early game.
Skip JunJia looking for that early pressure, finds it. First blood over to JDG.
I mean, the timing worked out beautifully. The fact that both junglers were pathing towards bot, he skips a camp, Chovy now getting very low.
Killing Chovy? Chovy has to flash the win, and red card came out, HongQ wins, it flashes in! HongQ finds the solo in the mid lane!
HongQ, this man shows up internationally, man! He's continued his level of success just like we saw from him last year. He became a player that everyone had their eyes on at his debut, at first stand from last year, saying this guy could be good. And he's continuing to demonstrate that. What an impressive way to start this game off. 2-0 for JDG.
And it's the 2 new players coming into JDG. Yes, obviously some of the other players are new as well. Xiaoxu, the only one remaining from last year. But JunJia and HongQ brought over from the Flying Oysters last year after having such a performance through all the international tournaments for the LCP representatives. Now popping off in the first international of 2026.
Yeah, and speaking of Nymera, he was telling me his expectations were very much like, he expected them to be good, but not this quickly, right? And the thing that we know about these 2 players specifically is when they are on an international stage, they show up.
Journey. Oh, almost takes them out. GALA with the lethal tempo. JunJia looking for a gank on the top side as Ruler tries to trade back. Kiin going forward, doesn't really have anywhere to get out of this. Overheats and is taken out. JunJia cooks him. 3-0 JDG.
JunJia is making his presence felt here in the early game. He is snowballing like a madman, and he is making things happen for his team. Impressive stuff coming out from JDG here in the early game. I mean, our expectations were that Canyon would be the one driving things in this early path, but we're going to take a quick look back at this gank in the top side. I mean, there's very little to say, to be completely honest with you. He applies the brittle, the knockback in conjunction with the damage from JunJia is enough to secure that kill. I was hoping we'd get a replay of the solo kill in mid lane just to demonstrate once again how well HongQ played that. Putting that pressure down, how lane dominant this champion can be. But Twisted Fate, kind of an annoying champion, still has a gold lead.
HongQ and JunJia coming over from CFO, having a great time so far in the LPL and now here at first stand. These guys together, 3 LCP championships in a row.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys were super dominant domestically. They really ran the region. And for them to have this opportunity, I mean, JunJia, no stranger to the LPL, of course. Formerly played for EDG in the past. Was part of that World Championship run, of course, as a substitute. But now he's really making a name for himself here alongside JDG. And for them to start this series off with such confident levels of play, it's great to see. But the thing is, getting a lead is just a start against Gen.G. Gen.G have fallen behind before. But there's a reason why so far this year they've only lost 2 games.
Yeah.
Games.
Not even series, just games.
Yeah, can they bring it across the finish line? We're only 6 minutes in, Dragon is up. And HongQ wants to protect his ward, but Canyon's going to be able to secure it. They're in a great position right now to start this objective. Really good control over this river. As it looks like Gen.G is going to be forced back, but Canyon is still hovering around the area.
It's a battle over the crab, right? If you get this crab, you get level 6. Canyon looking to see if you can steal it away. Equalizer down from Kiin in the top lane just to push Xiaoxu out. The crab not secured. Oh, actually it was taken by Canyon. I think he just snuck it away under JunJia's nose there. Now Canyon is level 6, and because of that, you'll see JDG say, okay, we have to back off. A little bit of protection for the bot lane. JunJia's going to hold there because there's Destiny and there's the Grand Starfall that could make it a 4v2 on bot side.
I mean, JunJia is spending a lot of time making these 2 ganks happen, both top and bot. You can see the camp differential. Canyon's just been power farming through his clear. It gave him the upgraded smite earlier, which then allowed him to have that smite advantage. I wasn't sure if JunJia even had his smite up. I wasn't keeping track of it. But it felt like that was a guaranteed crab for him. So the fact that he lost it definitely swung the momentum, because now that dragon's going to be secured by Gen.G.
It's just such a big swing. It's level 6 first. Okay, we can't make a play bot side. Okay, we have to give up the Drake. Okay, I have to go back to farming. And because of that, now the gold lead basically dissipates, just evaporates. Only 200, 100 between the 2 teams now. This is what Gen.G can do so well, and this is obviously something a lot of teams would do in this situation, but the willingness to find that smite, to steal away the crab, means that Gen.G are now equalizing the game.
You've got to remember the Twisted Fate passive as well, doing a lot of work for Chovy right now. His farm continues to be immaculate. 7 minutes, 27-1 CS.
And the first strike for Kiin. He's
exactly.
Down
so
an assist,
I think he's also gotten a he got a play to top lane as well. So those are offsetting the kills basically. And imagine if HongQ didn't have that kill, right? Like the goal difference would be already pretty big, and this is just the advantage of that TF. And this is what I mean, where like getting those kills, great start. Great in terms of confidence, great that you're just kind of playing without any fear, but at the same time, you need to be able to keep that momentum going. We know that JunJia is often a driver, a key component to the success of JDG. So let's see if he can continue to make things happen in this game as Duro beautifully lights up the bot side half of the map, gets great information for Canyon. That vision will be cleared out. Not all of it. That ward on the Raptors still remains for Gen.G, but Canyon got everything that he needs. He knows exactly where JunJia is. Ruler and Duro can now play around that. And we're just kind of, now that, you know, like the level 6 have passed quite a while ago, we're waiting for these side lane plays to start coming through. Where will the focus be? Bot lane's not an easy place to gank. We did talk about how Cleanse has a lot of value in this game. And unsurprisingly, GALA's grabbed that for himself. Good vision control from JDG. They set the sights on bots.
Yeah, looking again to play around the Scuttle Crab, maybe look for a little bit of an invade when you've got the pushing bot side. The blue, though, already taken by Canyon. Turn his attention over to the Gromp. Ward over from JunJia. Means that JDG know this is happening, but really just a battle for that Scuttle Crab again.
Seems like it. Okay, so feeling as though the game has slowed down just a bit. The Grubs, I mean, I've seen Grubs in the LCK just been completely ignored.
Just ignored
they've sat there and said, you know what, I don't care. I'd rather just get another full clear done. Grubs definitely feel super weak right now in the current meta. Here we go.
Looking for GALA and Vampire. Vampire flashing away early. GALA with the Arcane Shift will get himself out. A summoner for an ultimate. A good exchange overall for Gen.G.
Was watching the minimap. HongQ doing a really good job of just gluing himself to Chovy. Chovy tried to push out the wave, move into that bot river, ready to follow up. But the vision control that JDG have, along with the fact that HongQ is super aware of this guy trying to roam, means that he's not going to get involved in the party. They'll just be happy with the flash they get off Vampire.
An immediate pings coming out from JDG saying, okay, we know there's no Grand Starfall. We can go for at least a couple of these Grubs. JunJia will be able to take the first one. You can see Canyon working his way across, but expect he'll just stop at the Raptors, accepting that these have been forfeit, so JDG will get their first neutral of the game in the form of 3 Grubs.
These wards that, I think it's Duro that keeps getting them. You can see 2 wards, 1 on the Raptors, 1 now on the Krugs as well. Just to keep information as to where JunJia is, the fact that those camps aren't available, it gives you a clear indication that he's on the top side. The fact that the Grubs has also just been secured, it gives you that information as well. But Gen.G now converting this into a gold lead. Chovy, I mean, the CS gap hasn't changed, but Twisted Fate just continues to mount that goal.
Yeah, the passive is so powerful for him. Getting extra gold off every minion that he is killing. Canyon looking to see if Xiaoxu overextends in the top lane, with the wave not being in the best of spots for him, but Xiaoxu still has the Call of the Horde God and a flash, so can just walk out of that one pretty safely. Duro once again stepping in and trying to get a little bit more vision for him. Which is it's an interesting play when you are a Bard by yourself and you know your jungler's on the top side of the map and your jungler has been spotted out to go in, but you always have the magical journey to get to safety and the tempered fate as well in case you're really stuck in a sticky situation.
I feel like Bard definitely gets to cheat, but it also depends on what you're playing against. Yesterday we saw Lebrov try to do something similar and he did get punished a couple times, but Duro seems to be hyper aware of where the enemy jungler is, playing around that beautifully.
Look, man, I'm not going to say there's a slight skill gap between Lebrov and Duro.
Okay, what are you going to say then?
I am going to say that. I think there's a slight skill gap between Lebrov and Duro, but as you say, like not too much instant CC to catch him out. You've got an encore, a knock up from the 3 talent strike, but nothing too consequential for something like the Bard.
Seems like the Dragon now the focus for both these teams as Vision is intensifying. But again, the wards on that bottom tri-brush, 3. 1 behind the pit, 1 in the tri-brush, and then 1 in the bot river. Just basically to give full coverage of a potential flank that JDG could use to come in through from that side. Training Force not yet completed for GALA, a valuable spike that he'd love to have, but he's not going to have it ready. Same can be said though for Ruler, as the Dragon 9 seconds away.
Yeah, the problem for JDG though is Xiaoxu does not have his teleport, so he's now running down the river to try and get here in time, which gives Kiin more time just to farm up in the top lane. He can TP in if he needs to. Top lane quest is completed for Xiaoxu as he comes down and across. JDG will start up the Dragon. It actually looks like Gen.G might just be giving this one up. Can use Duro for the Tempered Fate to delay this. There's the Destiny, there's the TP. Okay, Gen.G looking to call for the first big fight of the game, the first 5v5. TP down to the bottom side. GALA unable to join the Barney right now as he's been forced underneath his tower. JDG begin a pincer movement, but it's the Ezreal on the bot side, and he's not really the one you want as one of those claws. Kiin spotted on Vision, the Drake down to 3,000 HP. Equalizer heal comes out from Vampire. Forced away, the stun card locks them down, and JunJia's already dead. The Drake now Gen.G's target, as between worlds goes HongQ, but Kiin goes in with a flame spitter on the backline, and Zhao is forced to charge away. The chase continues. Kiin with an electro harpoon on GALA, gets the slow Grand Starfall in, and Gen.G begin to collapse, and JDG will burn alive. Kiin finds another. Gen.G demolish the team fight.
Beautiful patience from Gen.G. I mean, the way they navigate that fight made it so difficult for JDG to really have an angle of attack. The poke from Chovy, the fact that GALA was chunked out before the fight had even started, and then JunJia, they one-shot him before he even gets the chance to ult. He needs to respect the damage output. Look at GALA's HP here. He's forced to use the Arcane Shift early. The poke from TF combined with an early Rumble ultimate, they then stun up the Xin Zhao, don't give him a chance to ult, and they don't overcommit here. They take their time, they use their range, and they chip away. Kiin, however, says, you know what, I've done enough damage. I think we can start the chase. Chovy's ready. They have the Pantheon ult too. They get the flashes out, and they pick JDG apart.
Gen.G didn't even need Ruler to do this. He's on his way down to the bottom lane to get the push in. The gold lead extends to about 3k, and this is why Gen.G are so feared. An even-ish game. Lead for JDG in the early game, but a singular fight around that second Drake now puts Gen.G 3k ahead. And you can see in the Coinbase gold grind just how even it was up until this point, but now Chovy 1.4k gold ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he is so monstrously far ahead now on the Twisted Fate. He's only going to continue to get stronger. Kiin, a 1.1k goal lead for himself. Gen.G are now in such a terrifying position with a 2-dragon lead. JDG are going to have to find some crazy fights to turn this one around. It looked so good for them at the start, finding those early kills. They were looking confident. I love the way that they were playing, but now they find themselves in an awkward spot where the pressure from Gen.G, it feels like across the entire map is unrelenting, and those globals poised and ready to make things even worse for JDG.
Yeah, because the lanes are kind of still predominantly intact. We haven't seen a first tower fall. We haven't really opened up the map entirely. Gen.G having that ability just to be in multiple lanes at once makes it so hard for JDG. They've moved Vampire and GALA into the mid lane. Ruler the only one who needs to deal with him right now. And we talked about the Pantheon and the Twisted Fate as these side lane threats. Bard does the same thing. Tempered Fate is really difficult when you're a low mobility carry. HongQ has a few ways to avoid it. No flash at the moment, but can use the Between Worlds, can go across the veil. But it is going to be very tricky for JDG to escape Gen.G if they do decide to pull the trigger on one of these plays.
Right now, the Herald's being flirted with. And look at this vision. Gen.G with the deep wards. Canyon.
JunJia jumped on Crescent Guard coming out. Tempered Fate. They have the dash flash away from it. JunJia with the Crescent Guard isn't able to escape. Ruler takes the kill. TP coming in as well as HongQ joins the battle, but Kiin can chase him out. Xiaoxu now in the middle of 4 members of Gen.G. A good true shot barrage landing across the backline. Call of the Forge God coming out as well, but the root and the stun and the CC on Xiaoxu means the Forge God will not make a return journey. Gen.G find 2 once again.
I mean, it's just so clean. Gen.G give no room for error. They find a single pick, they convert it into another one. JDG have the right instincts, but they basically are just TPing into their own demise. There's no way for them to escape. Gen.G pick up more kills, they'll pick up the Herald, the gold lead continues to extend, and I feel like we're already at a point where JDG need to be thinking about Game 2.
Yeah, that's the struggle though, because if Game 2 goes similarly to Game 1, you had a good start. You got 3 kills early doors, JunJia was 1,000 gold ahead in the early game, but then Gen.G just took a fight that you started, that you went for around that second Drake, and from there have just been able to close everything out. It is going to be so hard for JDG, not only in this game, but also looking at how they change their strategy in the rest of the series.
I mean, I think that Gen.G have just leveraged range incredibly well in this game. The way that they've used Caitlyn not only as zone control, but the fact that the TF can just walk up and land that stun onto any target. Like, the single target stun onto JunJia, they chunk him out. Chovy pops the ghost, ready to follow up. Kiin is the one that actually flashes in. But holding that stun card, like, it's just so lethal because of how quickly they can turn their attention onto a single person. And they don't necessarily have to get the kill. They can just kind of chunk them out. But of course, getting kills, Kiin doesn't have his flash. He's got incredible aim. It turns out, beautiful spear connects. Easy kill secure once again. Gen.G find themselves in a dominant position here in Game 1. And the problem is as well, like, I know there's not a lot of tanky, quote-unquote, members on the side of Gen.G, but they do build just a lot of HP, Rod of Ages, very obnoxious for burst classes. Like Aurora, early laning phase, yeah, she was having a great time. You don't have any damage to trade back against me. But now, at this point in the game, you don't have the burst to just get through the raw HP and the Merc treads that he has. Now they're going to look to secure this tower.
Should be able to get it. And going forward, there's the equalizer. Xiaoxu almost half HP already. Tempered Fate's going to clip the heels of the Ornn as the Crescent Guard isn't going to buy JunJia enough time to survive. JDG forced away. The Rift Herald will get another charge in. And once again, they've lost their jungler.
Decimation is really the only word I have to describe what is happening right now. That early game looked optimistic, but Gen.G quickly silenced any semblance of doubt. The way they navigate these team fights, very clean. Dragon on the docket, tower as well. Pushing out the bot wave, getting deeper vision control. We're 18 minutes in, Forge God has been called.
On to Chovy, who does still have the flash and the exhaust, and the Bellows Breath coming out. HongQ trying to get the damage down, but they just can't touch him. Gen.G miles away from any real engage out of JDG. And when you're using your Call of the Forge God to try and defend a tier 2, that falls, and you lose a tier 1 on the top side because Chovy just destinies away. It is not a good look at all for the LPL number 2 seed.
Absolutely. They're getting desperate at this point because they have to. They need to find something, but they can't even get in range. The Rumble ultimate here was the biggest thing. Kiin forces Xiaoxu back. GALA's in an awkward spot. He's doing what he can. Vampire tries to peel for his teammates, but it's just not enough. Gen.G's single target focus is too lethal. The moment they've got you in the beginning of that CC chain, it's very difficult to escape. Think about it. The traps layered on top of a Pantheon stun, maybe a Bard root, maybe a TF stun. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going to lose most of your HP if you come within range of a single member of Gen.G.
JDG never really been able to get to that team fight position they really wanted with this composition. Gen.G now 9,000 gold ahead, stealing away all of this jungle, suffocating JDG as much as possible. Canyon might just look for someone behind enemy lines here as he jumps onto JunJia. Tempered Fate in as Crescent Guard comes out from JunJia. Good damage here onto Canyon. Duro takes a chunk as well. The equalizer, though, stopping JDG from being able to go any further. A magical journey over the wall gets Gen.G out to safety.
I mean, weirdly enough, it still feels like that Gen.G's the one that has the pressure.
Look at how low JDG are.
I mean, JDG, they get the flash out from Canyon, and he's the one that's forced to retreat, but Chovy's full HP. The poke continues to come through. The bot tower's still going to fall. Ruler's now backing away, but Chovy's not done just yet.
Mid tower, the inhibitor tower at 20 minutes. Down to less than a plate. Gen.G will back away. TP behind as Xiaoxu looks to see if he can find a flank position. 6 seconds before the Call of the Forge God is back up. Duro and Kiin running away. And they'll be able to escape for now. Gen.G still looking to see if perhaps they can take the fight. After this, it was Xiaoxu who was on the flank. Cosmic Binding lands onto JunJia. Corner of the Forge God comes out as well with the headshots for Ruler. Put JunJia in the dirt, and now JDG, all hail the retreat. Chovy Destinies flashes forward, lands onto Vampire with the stun card. And Vampire, even with the Encore landing onto 4, it's just not enough. They just don't die. Gen.G levels above their opposition in this game. They all walk out alive from a 4-man Encore. And Gen.G could just march it down mid.
I mean, they're able to get 1 kill back. They're able to add a death onto the scoreboard of Ruler, but it is an ace nonetheless. The inhibitor will fall. And JDG, they get shepherded. They committed the TP to try and find a pick on the Gen.G, but it is Gen.G that turned it around. And look at the single target focus. They find one target, they shut them down, they find another. Chovy then commits quite deep, and Vampire here lands a beautiful ulti onto 4 members. But the damage just isn't there anymore. They're too far behind in gold. If this play had happened earlier, maybe JDG would have a chance, but they're too far behind. The damage is too much. And it's only at this point that they get a kill back.
HongQ flashing forward at the end to get that kill onto Ruler. The mid lane inhibitor does go down. Baron an option as well for Gen.G. Their 14,000 gold advantage weighing heavy in their wallets. And you look at the side of JDG, like, first item is all that GALA has. He's got first item and bits, now finishes the Mana Moon. It's going to upgrade to the Mua Mana. 2 items for HongQ as well, but on the other side, you are just in such a strong position as Gen.G. I think they could take it at like a very undernumbered fight right now and still.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Xiaoxu is too far away, doesn't have TP, there's nothing they can do to contest this. It is the traps as well. JunJia's going to have a bit of a sniff, but instead he may be... Oh, I think he's gone.
Gold card. Crescent Guard comes out for the Cosmic Binding there for more CC. There's the root from the Snapshot. JunJia will flash away. The Equalizer didn't do as much as they wanted. Grand Starfall into the backline from Canyon as HongQ tries to dash over the wall and will escape. JunJia putting the damage down as well, but can't kill off Duro. Kiin with a stopwatch call of the Forge God. What gods are you praying to, JDG? They are not listening. Gen.G once again, clean up the fight, don't lose a man, only Vampire survives.
Sub 25 minutes, Baron secured, the Nexus in sight. Gen.G start this tournament off in dominant fashion.
This was a shellacking. Gen.G showing why they are well and truly the favorites for first stand. 1-0 to the LCK #1 seed.
The early game with 3 kills going to JDG looked promising. Coming out the gate swinging, getting that early gold lead, but Gen.G, after a single fight, just blew the game out of the water.